So if you're curious about growing onions from seeds, and I'm about to start mine, so I wanted to bring you along with me on the journey, there are multiple ways that you can start onions. You can do them from sets, which is little pre-grown onions that you plant in the ground, or you can do them from starts, which you're typically going to get from a nursery where they have already started the onions for you and then they've plucked them all out and then you replant them. Or you can do my favorite method, which is growing them from seeds. Growing from seed definitely takes longer, but the reason that I love it is you have so much more variety. The varieties kind of peak at seeds and then reduce as you go backwards to sets. When you get into sets, they're pretty much going to be the more common varieties that people like. I just find that by growing them by seed, it opens up a whole world of all these different onions that you can grow. So I'll be sharing with you guys some of the ones that I'm growing this year, and I will also be showing you the method that I start my onion seeds. So right now we're in mid-February, so I am late for me getting my onions started. But it's great because it gives me the opportunity to talk about something that I'm going to be bringing up an awful lot this year, especially for if you are a new gardener. And that is the concept of good, better, best. There typically isn't one right way to do things. People live in different climates with different constraints, with different mobility issues. Just everything is different for everybody, and everybody's garden is different. Somebody might say, oh, this is the right way to do this. And that may not be right for you. So I really try on this channel not to say right versus wrong. That's why I'm leaning into, also for myself, because it helps to take the pressure off of this good, better, best mentality. The best would have been if I had actually started my onions on the winter solstice back in December when I had planned to start them. Better would have been if I'd actually started them in January when I realized that I still hadn't started my onions. It is still good to get them started now. And that's going to be better than not starting them at all. I have this page that I actually ripped out of the West Coast Seeds catalog. For me, it's for Southern Ontario. It has the time to start the onions they actually show it from January until March. Onions take a really long time to grow. For some of the varieties that I'll be growing, we have 110 days, 105 days. So they do take a long time. In my growing season, if I'm lucky, I have about 150 days. Onions tend to prefer cooler temperatures, so if I wait to put them out, they might struggle a bit during the heat of the summer. Whereas if I get them started now, or earlier, then I can be harvesting them in the middle of summer, get them out of the garden, free up that space, and put something else in that I will then harvest in the fall. So I'll share with you guys some of the varieties that I am growing. I'll start first with the leeks. So I'm doing the Corentin leeks from Victory Seeds. So I have those. These ones are my husband's favorite. These are the round Tropea onions from Baker Creek. Then we have a couple from West Coast Seeds. So we have the Kelsey onions. These ones are a sweet onion. They get really big. They're supposed to be really sweet, and they're actually supposed to be one of the better keeping sweet varieties, so I wanted to give them a try. Then we have the Red Wing onions. So these are a really good red storage variety. I grew these last year, and I still have some that we are still eating. We used some for dinner last night. There's another one from West Coast Seeds, the White Wing. Another one that is supposed to have large bulbs, and it does keep well. The one thing that's nice, it says here on the White Wing, is it's day neutral, so will bulb up in any climate with a long enough season, which is the perfect opportunity to talk about the different categories of onions. So there's three main categories, I would say. There are the short day onions, the intermediate day onions, and then the long day onions. Where I am in Canada, typically the ones that are going to grow best in my region are the long day onions. If you live somewhere much further south, then you're going to want to go with a short day onion, and intermediate day onions can kind of grow, somewhere in the middle. That doesn't mean that you can't grow a short day onion somewhere more north, and you can't grow a long day onion somewhere more south. But they are not going to perform in the same way that they would if they were grown in the climate that is best suited to them. So you might have them bulbing up really quickly or not bulbing up at all. I still think it's worth it though. If you see a variety that you really want to try, go for it. Then I have my leftover seeds. So one thing that is important to know about onions is that the germination drops off rapidly after about year 1 or 2, which is kind of weird because they are a bigger seed, and usually the bigger seeds tend to last longer, but just not onions. I have these that before I really understood this, I had gone in and started buying a whole bunch of onions, and I stocked up on them, which in hindsight is not a great thing to do for onions. So I have a whole bunch of these left, and we are just going to put them in and see what grows. I'm just going to mix them up. I'm not going to worry about which one's which. So what I'm doing from now on, which is what I did with these three, is every year I'm just going to buy the onions that I want to grow for that year. So some of the ones I have left over, we have the global onions from Baker Creek. I'll put a little picture on the screen of that one. And some of these are intermediate, some are long day, some are short day. These ones are from 2019, the Stuttgarters. Not expecting too much from those. I did get a couple of them to grow last year, but there's still some left in here, so we're just going to dump them all in. We have the Flat of Italy. This is an intermediate day onion. Then we have the Texas Early Grano onion. I'll put a picture of that one on the screen as well. I'm pretty sure this is a short day onion. I've never even opened this one. Then we have the Bianca di Guigno onion. This one's a short day. This one is an Italian cipollini onion. Probably butchered that. I had these in one of my Good Food boxes when I ordered one, and they were delicious. We have some more of my husband's round chapea. This is an older package in 2019. And then lastly, we have this Spanish sweet onion. You should get some to germinate. I don't expect much. I'm going to keep them in their own container, so it'll be interesting to see, as I show you guys how these are growing, how many we actually get from these. And they span from 2019 to I think 2022. Maybe what I'll do if I can find two containers is I'll put the 2019s in a separate one just because they are so old, and we'll see what we get for those. 2019 was a big year apparently for me for buying onion seeds and then not using them all. I will also put a link down below to a blog post that I did on growing onions. Okay, so I have everything ready right here, which I'm going to flip the camera and show you guys, and we will go through actually starting these seeds. All right, so these are my new onions for this year. I have my whole setup here. I did start a few and then I was like, hey, let's show you guys what I'm doing. So I've already started the leeks, I have already started the round chapaeas, and I have started the Kelsey. So the other ones here, I just have some ProMix. These are the containers from Bootstrap Farmer. These are just the ones I like to start my onions in. Because the onion roots are very wiry, I find that it's great to just dump them all in here and then I can separate them out afterwards. Over here, we have some vermiculite that we're going to use in a minute. So I'm just going to flatten these all down so it's a nice smooth surface. I've pre-moistened all of this soil. After that, I won't water from the top. I will only bottom water here into the tray. So I left the one space here where I can put it in. First, I will be doing the white wing onions. Don't normally grow the white onions, so I'm kind of excited for these ones. You can just see. All right, so one thing you can notice on these are very white, so these ones are coated. So the idea is sometimes you'll get this on it, so it makes it easier for you to see them when you're putting them in. More important if you're trying to put individual ones, because I'm just dumping them in, it's not such a big deal. And because I've got all of the perlite in here anyways, they're gonna pretty much just look like perlite. So I'll just sprinkle them on top. And because I'm sowing them heavily, again, it doesn't really matter where they go. And then I'm gonna take my vermiculite. I'm just gonna grab a handful of this. And this stuff is the very fine vermiculite right there. You can get more coarse stuff. I just thought this one would be better for starting the seeds. And one of the reasons I'm putting this on top rather than soil, I found that this is a good way to just help prevent issues on the top of the soil mix. It's good to help prevent fungus gnats, and it can tend to let in a bit of light if you have seeds that you'd like to germinate. Next, we'll do these ones, the red wing, and these ones I grew this year already. They were fantastic. So if this is your first year growing onions, let me know down in the comments. Are you growing from seed? Are you growing from starts? Are you growing from sets? And what varieties are you growing? You can see that's the normal color of the onion seeds. And then what I'll do is I'll just grab these and I'll sprinkle them into the red wing container. We will get some more vermiculite. Sprinkle that on top. You don't want it too thick. Just kind of coat the whole surface. So we have the two last containers here. I have two labels. I'm going to make up one for mixed onions for 2019 and then other mixed onions. We will dump them all in here and then I will get these set up under the grow lights. It is really, really important to label them because no matter how much you think you were going to remember what is where, trust me, chances are you won't. So you'll really thank yourself later if you take the time to label them now. So we will throw all of these in. Okay, there is a lot of round trapeze. Next is these ones. Lots of those too. It's really easy to get caught up when you're buying seeds and just buy too many. So I am trying to be a little bit more restrained and buy the ones that I'm actually going to use and grow. Loads of the flat of Italy as well. If these all grow, I'm going to be drowning in onions. But they won't. They won't. That might be famous last words. Then we have the Stuttgarter. And again, loads of those as well. So just so you guys can see, it's like the entire surface here is onions. So we'll see what we get from those. We'll get the vermiculite on. Now we will do the other ones. So these are the older ones. So these are the sweet Spanish. Let's see how many we got in here. Oh, not many. Then we have the Australian brown. Good few of those. Next we have the Globo onions. Lastly, we have these Texas early granos. So if we zoom in on that one, definitely not as many seeds as we had in the 2019 mix, so we will see how we do for germination. And like I mentioned, I am now only going to bottom water these, which will help keep all the seeds in place and just cut down on issues. They will be able to suck up any of the water from below. So now these guys are going to go under the grow lights, and I'll be doing updates on my Instagram, so you can check that out down here. And if you want to see how I harvest my onions, you can check out this video.